Okay, so there are places to do the devil's tango, and there are places to do the devil's beating. But one thing I will say is that doing it in school is definitely not the case. And I am talking to you men and women. But today's story does get really insane, so make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because seriously, it means a lot when you guys do. And on top of that, this story is about to get insane. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So today's story takes place back when I was in high school. It was my grade 9 year, and I remember basically it was the year when I just started high school, funny enough. And I'm not gonna lie, when you're in middle school, you realize a lot of things, that your body's changing and stuff. And when you hit high school, well, I guess people start to use their bodies for many different things. Like, for example, doing the devil's tango with, like, I don't know, really anything that walks. Anyways, I remember my grade 9 year, I ended up taking a class called theater, because I took theater classes because, like, one thing I really wanted to do and pursue in my future career was actually, funny enough, be an actor, or, you know, find any way to kind of get rid of my stutter that I had back when I was younger. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I used to have a really bad stutter. So I thought maybe taking theater would help me out and also boost my self-confidence for, you know, being in front of the camera or making videos, or I don't know. I just knew I wanted to do something towards entertainment. So I remember I ended up going into my theater class, and when I entered in there, one thing I realized was that there was a lot of weirdos in there. Don't get me wrong, I'm weird, but there was a lot, and I mean a lot of weird people in that class. Like, for example, when I went in there, I remember there was a guy literally picking his nose and eating his boogers while about to make out with a chick that was right beside him. Kind of gross, but I guess, you know, it adds a certain flavor to the kiss. I don't know. It was super disgusting. And there was also another girl in the classroom that was actually, funny enough, not really almost wearing anything. She was wearing a tube top and short shorts, and I'm not gonna lie, at this point, she might as well be in a bikini. But honestly, the teacher didn't care, and it seems like I shouldn't have cared because it honestly doesn't matter, but it was just a super weird class, I'll tell you that much. So I remember I ended up going inside the class, and we ended up sitting down, and I remember we all started going in a circle, kind of introducing ourselves and all that stuff. And I remember when it came to me, I ended up saying, oh, like, hi, my name is Bubba. I, like, kind of, like, just do video games and stuff, and the reason I'm taking theater is to make, like, cool videos. I remember when I said cool videos, there was one chick in that class who actually, like, looked at me, like, surprising, and, like, kind of, like, I don't know, I guess found interest in me in some way. It was super weird. So I remember basically from there, I kind of just ended up actually, funny enough, making friends with her. I remember I ended up becoming friends with her, but at the same time, one thing I will say is that this girl was super weird, because, like, she kind of had, like, a lisp, but at the same time, the only thing she would talk about is her favorite, like, movie star actors. And I remember when she was listing out a bunch of actors she liked, she literally ended up saying Johnny Sins. Now, don't get me wrong, that guy's an astronaut, a plumber, a space cadet, I don't know, he's a lot of different things, but an actor? When she brought that up to me, I remember I looked at her kind of oddly and said, oh, okay, cool, acting like I didn't know who he was, when clearly, I'm not gonna lie, I could probably even be related to Johnny Sins at this point, because, like, we got a lot in common. Anyways, going on with the story, I remember one thing led to another, and she was telling me how, like, basically, like, she was attracted to, like, a bunch of, like, movie star actors, and, like, she was talking about, like, movie star actors as if she wanted to do the devil's tango with all of them. And what I mean by that is, like, for example, she would say something like this: oh my goodness, like, did you see, like, Tom Holland's, like, acting skills in that movie? Oh my goodness, oh, he's like the hottest Spider-Man, like, oh my goodness, I just want to rip that sweatsuit off him. Yeah, weird stuff like that would come out of her mouth, like, all the time, to the point where I started realizing this girl was one, you know, bricked up girl. So I remember I kind of just, like, ended up, like, kind of, like, staying clear from her, but at the same time, she was, like, my only friend in the class, so I kind of, like, stuck by her but didn't really talk to her. I don't know, it's like a weird, like, constellation of basically, like, just surviving the class in some way. And I remember when class ended, the girl ended up walking up to me saying, hey, like, Bubba, like, do you want to, like, maybe, like, hang out sometime? Like, it was really nice meeting you in the class, and, like, I was just wondering, like, you're pretty cool, like, do you want to, like, I don't know, like I said, like, earlier, like, hang out maybe? I remember I looked at her, and this girl was, like, really nervous to ask me to hang out, and I would feel like an absolute weirdo just to say no to her right away. So I ended up saying, oh, like, yeah, like, we can hang out at lunch if you want. And this girl got super excited about that and ended up leaving. Don't get me wrong, afterwards I kind of regretted saying yes to her, but at the same time, it was my grade 9 year. Honestly, the choices we make in grade 9 don't actually, like, really follow us throughout the school year, so I didn't really care. Anyways, I remember I ended up going to my 2 other classes, and I started hearing rumors about this girl, how she had, like, a certain toy that she carries around with her, but it was all, like, a rumor to me. And honestly, one thing I don't do is listen to rumors until, like, they're proven. And let's just say the rumor was proven, and it all ends up happening like this. I remember when I went to the cafeteria with her, I ended up, you know, sitting down and talking to her, eating lunch with her, and I started realizing that this girl really had, like, a weird fetish for actors, to the point where I started asking her, like, hey, like, I was just curious, like, there's a rumor going around the school that, like, you bring, like, a toy with you everywhere, like, I'm just curious, like, do you actually? She ended up looking at me me all embarrassed and said, oh, like, no, like, why would I do that? As she's looking like side to side and rolling her eyes, which made her seem really, really guilty. And then I remember I kind of just said, all right, if you say so, and ended up finishing my food. But then afterwards, when I said that, I remember this girl ended up actually not eating with me anymore, stood up and actually walked away. Now, I guess I somehow made her mad and stuff. And don't get me wrong, I mean, it's fair enough. I did bring up something out of pocket that was just a rumor, but you know, who cares? After that conversation went down, I remember the next day at school, I ended up going to my theater class and I started realizing that this girl was kind of avoiding me, but at the same time being weirded out by me. But don't get me wrong, I was still her only friend in that class, so she stuck by me as well, and we kind of just became partners for everything. And then afterwards, for some reason, in the middle of class, when we were like doing like a acting exercise, I remember this girl for some reason was acting so weird while she was looking at something in her phone, to the point where she got up and ended up leaving the class and said that she had to go to the bathroom. She ended up leaving for the bathroom, and I remember this girl was not returning back to class because she was like gone for like more than 20 minutes. And my teacher was worried about her, so I remember my teacher ended up pointing me out saying, Bubba, can you go find the student? I remember when she asked me to find her, I was really confused and didn't know what to do. But I basically stood up and I ended up looking for the girl and trying to figure out where she was. I remember I ended up walking down the hallway. I ended up looking in the cafeteria. I almost looked everywhere, to the point where then I ended up hearing a noise coming out of the bathroom. It was a noise that kind of went like this. Oh my goodness. Super weird noise. So then afterwards, I remember I ended up going close to the bathroom and I kept hearing her making really weird moaning noises, to the point where I realized this girl was definitely doing something sus. Then afterwards, I remember I actually ended up going into the bathroom. Now, going into the girl's bathroom is the most dumbest thing, and no one should ever do it because it is severely, I don't know, it's like almost illegal, okay? But I ended up going into the girl's bathroom to see where she was, to bring her back to class. And when I went to the bathroom, the moaning got louder and louder, to the point where I realized this girl is definitely doing the devil's beating. So knowing this, I didn't know what to do. So I ended up, funny enough, kind of like looking over the stall in the next bathroom stall that was beside her. And I started realizing there were 4 different Devil's Tango toys on the floor of the bathroom. And for some reason, they're all shaped like different eggplants. And I started realizing there were names on the side of them that were of actors, basically, that she really liked. And she was watching, I guess, movies of those actors in it. It was so weird. And I remember I was looking at it and I went, and when I breathed in so loudly, I guess she heard me, ended up looking up, and she panicked. I remember she was freaking out, like screaming, like, oh my goodness, like, what are you doing in here? And basically ended up pulling up her pants and everything. She came out of the bathroom and said, Bubba, like, what are you doing? Like, are you serious right now? At that point, I remember I looked at her and said, listen, I'm not gonna say anything, but like, can we go back to class? She looked at me all angry, and let's just say, I want to say like 4 days later, yeah, she wasn't my friend anymore. And basically people ended up finding out about her toys because someone went through her bag and ended up pulling every single eggplant out. Yeah, that guy was me, because I was dared to do it. But anyways, guys, that's basically it for today's story. So make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like I always say, just go for more embarrassing but weird stories. Peace out, guys.